Welcome to the Iron Self podcast, where we jump into health, fitness, mindset, and becoming the best version of yourself. Today with your hosts, Mike and Kayla Minion. Hey guys, welcome back to the Iron Self podcast.
Good afternoon, morning, or wherever you guys are.
So today we are here to talk to you about 10 reasons why you're not losing weight, or the scale isn't changing, or the body composition isn't changing. I mean, we could really word this in a billion different ways because, I mean, let's be honest. Scale weight is not necessarily always right to changes in body composition, right? When we lose physical weight on a scale, it can be not just fat, it could be water, it could be
muscle.
It could be muscle, it could be electrolytes. Like, there's so much that could change just based on the scale. But 10 reasons why we're not losing weight or body fat is kind of what I wanted to go with.
Yeah, and it's one of the things that we get a lot of the time because people are like, I've been trying this forever, I've been doing my own way, and I'm stuck. The weight might have been coming off at first, but now I've kind of plateaued and I'm sticking. So what are some ways that we can get that needle moving again and we can start seeing that success again?
Perfect. So let's jump in. Number 1, you're not in a calorie deficit. I mean, if you haven't gone back and listened, it's like one of our very first episodes.
The myth of the calorie deficit.
The myth of the calorie deficit. Like, if you are not in a calorie deficit, you're not going to lose weight. Like, that is the...
Bar none. You cannot be in a surplus and lose weight. There is literally not a single person you know that can eat in a calorie surplus for their metabolic demand and still lose weight. You can't do it.
However, they can change their body composition. Mm-hmm. But that's a totally another podcast.
That's not losing body fat.
That's not losing body fat. So, you may not be in a calorie deficit. So, how do we combat that? Well, we got to figure out where our calorie deficit is. And we need to know where our maintenance calories are in order to do that.
That's that magical word I was waiting for you to say. You got to figure out what your maintenance calories are. So, maintenance is that sweet spot where you're not gaining weight, you're not losing weight, energy levels are high, you're not feeling like you're cold all the time because you're in a deficit. We got to find that homeostasis where our body likes to just settle. We're not gaining weight, we're not losing weight, we have adequate energy for our days, and it's a beautiful place to be. I freaking love maintenance.
Mm-hmm. Number 2, and I would have added on to number 1, but I think it falls better under number 2, so we'll talk about it then. So number 2 is metabolic adaptation. Woo! So what is metabolic adaptation? It means that our metabolism has adapted to what we've asked of it, meaning you've put yourself in a calorie deficit and now you've plateaued. Your metabolism has downregulated to that level that you put yourself at that calorie deficit. Or you were at maintenance and you were maybe adding in extra cardio or extra intensity for your workouts. And now if we think about it, okay, well, maybe I'm not getting extra out of that, right? My metabolism has downregulated. You're pausing. I thought you had something to say there.
I do. So the big thing for this one is really... This happens to everybody. Our bodies are beautiful machines, right? So regardless if you are somebody who is a hard loser, if you have a really hard time losing weight or you have a really hard time gaining weight, our bodies are beautiful machines. So our bodies figure out the most efficient way to do the day-to-day processes that we have to do. So as our bodies adapt to our life situations, whether it's more calories, more exercise, less exercise, our body figures that out pretty quickly. And then as we adapt, this is that metabolic adaptation. This is where the metabolism either speeds up a little bit or it slows down a little bit. But the reality is, and it was kind of cool, we watched this thing, it was a study that was done, and it was like, regardless of whether you did like an intense workout or you just walk that day, your metabolism literally speeds up and slows down to kind of combat that. So this is where we start to play with calories.
100%. So metabolic adaptation is huge because if you've been at the same calorie level for a really long time, or you used one of those online calculators that maybe put you at a really low calorie level, I mean, the average calorie level is like 350 to 500 calorie deficit, and you've been there for a while, your metabolism's going to downregulate.
Slows down.
There's lots of ways we can combat that, but again, that's another podcast.
Well, and this all, it actually plays into a lot of what we're talking about, because as your metabolism slows down, your, like, again, something we're going to get into right away here, but your NEAT goes down, right? So like your
non-exercise activity.
Yeah, like the hand motions, when you're talking with your hands, when you're really animated, all of that starts to go by the wayside as that metabolism slows down, because it's like, I don't have enough energy to do all these extra movements to make myself super animated like I normally am. So now I'm sitting there talking with my hands down like this. For anybody who's listening, my hands are now just down. but that's like one of the things, right? And you'll start to notice that maybe you're talking less. You're just doing certain activities less than you normally would, because again, the energy isn't there because that metabolism has slowed down.
And we're going to talk about NEAT.
Yeah.
Number 3 is genetics. So, I mean, the amount of people that blame their plateaus on genetics, I didn't really want to put this one in, but then on the same token, it also needs to be talked about. So, genetics. What are your genetics kind of lending way to? So are you naturally just a leaner person? Are you naturally just a heavier set person? That's part of your genetic makeup. It doesn't mean that you are a victim of your genetics.
There we go.
Okay? But it just means that genetically, I'm not as predisposed to being a fitness competitor as maybe some other people that have an easier time.
Yep. Genetics are one of those fun things. You can't do a damn thing about it, right? You're born with the set of genes that you have, the genome that created the person that you are. So fighting it isn't something that's going to get you very far. Now, that's not to say that you can't work against it, right? Like if you look at your parents, I'm just vague generalization here. You look at your parents, and your parents are both overweight. Well, a lot of that comes back to the food choices and activity levels that they chose throughout their life. So saying that because your both parents are overweight means you will be overweight, that is just settling. That's allowing yourself to just fall into routine and be like, okay, well, I'm okay with this because somebody else before me was okay with this. So there are things that can be done, right? So I don't want people to think that we're saying genetics. So if you...
It's a great excuse,
yeah,
though.
it's a great reason to be like, again, I don't mean this to be mean or anything else like that. Kayla's family genetics are not built to be bodybuilders. They are not built to be lean like Kayla is. So it takes Kayla extra work to get to this level, right? So this is all I'm saying is don't be a victim of your circumstances. You can't just say, genetically I'm predisposed to this, so that's how I'm going to be. That's settling and accepting that. You get to drive your own bus. You get to create your own success. Move more. Eat healthier. Make some choices.
Well, okay, so the other thing is depending on how you eat or how you fuel your body or what you're putting into your body, maybe it's not food. You can turn off and turn on different genetics. So you might be predisposed to being overweight, but you could turn off that gene simply by eating better and moving more. Like there's lots of ways that we can to turn on and off genes, and that's kind of a totally different thing because that's
another podcast.
That's not even another podcast for me. That's way too sciencey and in depth for a gene turning off and on. But anyways, I wanted to give that piece. You could also be genetically, you just have more lean body mass. Maybe you have heavier bones, those kinds of things. Maybe genetically, you just have more non-exercise activity, that NEAT that Mike was talking about.
The legs are always going.
Maybe you have to be at a stand-up desk and step side to side, or you're constantly talking with your hands. Maybe you blink more than the average person and you have no idea if you blink more, but genetically you do. Or maybe you just have less hunger hormones. And now, genetically, you can have less hunger hormones, hunger cues, those kinds of things, but you can also down-regulate those. So
I was going to say, metabolism going down can affect that too.
Through a metabolic adaptation. Yeah. Okay, number 4, you have underlying metabolic issues. Ooh. And this is something that is often not talked about or not easily understood. And what we mean by this is underlying metabolic issues. So maybe you have PCOS, so polycystic ovarian syndrome. Maybe you have Hashimoto's disease. You could have thyroid issues. You could have insulin sensitivity issues. So these metabolic issues do lend way to making it more difficult to lose weight. Now, they do not make it impossible. And that is the big thing that I needed you guys to know. There is hope. There's hope. So if you're one of these people that have this, there is hope.
So yeah, and it is not as easy, right? So I'm prefacing here. I shouldn't say easy. Weight loss for the general population isn't that easy.
It's very difficult.
Because you got to figure, well, no, but the reality is you just got to figure out what works for you. And somebody like Kayla was saying that might, suffer from PCOS or have an issue with the thyroid or have insulin sensitivity issues, any of these issues that come up do kind of stack the chips against you. But it's not that it makes it impossible. You just need to be a lot smarter and a bit more careful with the food choices we make, the calorie restrictions that we're in, and how we kind of approach our nutrition.
100%. And I'm just going to say this right now because I think that this is a really good thing that maybe we will make a future podcast episode, like maybe shortly after this one, kind of diving into each of these topics a little further so that we can better explain them to you. As much as we love talking your ear off, I know that you also probably don't want to be here forever with us.
Now they do.
Now you do. Okay, number 5 is that you don't have much muscle mass. And this is an issue I run into a lot with people that are like, I really want to lose weight, blah, blah, blah. And why do my calories have to be so low, but my friend gets way more calories than me? And a lot of the time it comes down to the amount of muscle you have. The more muscle you have, the more calories you burn at rest. The less muscle you have, the less calories you burn at rest, and the less calories you burn just in general movement.
Muscle is metabolically active. We are burning fat just sitting still if you have more lean mass, if you have more muscle mass on your body. So the less lean mass you have, the less calories you are burning standing still.
100%.
That is the easiest way to say that. So don't worry about getting bulky. That's the number one thing I hate, and I'm gonna generalize on women. Women always say this to us. They always say, I just don't want to get bulky. And I'm like, you can work out 5 days a week with incredibly hard workouts. You're still not gonna be like super bulky.
I have been trying to bulk for a really long time.
So
genetically, it's not in my cards.
Just want to throw it out there, right? Because that is the number one concern I hear from most female athletes, most females who are looking to lose weight, whatever it is. They always say, I don't want to get bulky. Do the workouts. You're not going to get bulky. Muscle does not mean you're going to be like this jacked, ripped person like day one, right? It takes time.
You know how long it's taken to get to this point?
It takes time.
Jeez. I wish it happened overnight.
Snap your fingers.
I mean,
it's there.
I will add the caveat. There is a few of you genetic freaks out there that, you can just work out for a year and then all of a sudden you are like on and you are like ripped. There's a couple of you genetic freaks. But the majority of us, not going to happen.
Gotta work for it.
Yes. Okay. So number 6 is working out with less intensity, or you're doing less workouts. So some of this comes back to honesty with self. Are you going through the motions of your workout, or are you actually physically working out? Is your heart rate up? Is your breathing rate up? Are you sweating? Are you feeling the pump? Are you feeling the burn in the muscle? Are you taking 5 to 10 minutes in between each set? Like, how much rest is your body getting during the workout, and how intense is the workout?
Yeah. So the big thing here when we're looking at I'm going to say workout, but I'm going to say instead of workouts, I just want to use the term movement, because the reality is if you are new to this weight loss journey, or you've been trying to lose this weight, maybe you're not in the gym. Maybe it means we're moving our bodies more, which is totally okay too. But like Kayla is saying, the intensity level and the amount of workouts we're doing needs to be fairly high. The effort that you put into these workouts, you should be breathing heavy, because at a very base level, I'm not going to nerd out here, but on the very base level of weight loss, you need to work hard enough to increase your breathing rate, because as soon as you increase your breathing rate, there's more available oxygen to be expelled as carbon dioxide, which allows us to lose weight. That's how we lose weight.
We lose weight by expelling carbon molecules.
Through our breath.
Boop. Through our breath. 80% of your weight loss comes through your breath.
So with your workouts, the idea behind workouts, movement, however you want to say this, is an intensity that increases your breathing rate. That's literally all we need to achieve. Challenge your muscles. If you're doing workouts where you're physically like lifting weights, challenge your muscles so you do feel that burn, so you do feel that pump, and get your breathing rate elevated. Because as we elevate the breathing rate, we lose the weight.
Now, one of the things I wanted to bring forward to you guys is if you're not sure if you're working out hard enough, I highly recommend that you book one training session with a personal trainer, because we will help you learn at what level of intensity you really should be pushing yourself at, so that you get a really solid understanding of what that's like. I mean, I've been in the gym with lots of people, just that happen to be working out at the same time as me, and I notice that not everybody works
Intensity is low.
a very good intensity. Like, you might be like, oh, this is a pretty good workout for myself because maybe you haven't worked out in a while, but is it intense enough? So just because it's a good workout for you or you're feeling a pump, is it intense enough to get that breathing rate up? If you're ready to make a change in your life, step into the best version of you, check out our Iron Self Transformation Program. Find more info on our website, www.ironbodycoach.com.
The very base question, and this is what I say to anybody who is on a weight loss journey, because there is a difference working out for weight loss and there is a difference working out for gaining muscle or building muscle, right? So if you are doing it strictly for weight loss, did it change your rate of breath? If it did, congratulations, you're going to be losing weight. If it didn't, we need to work a little bit harder next time. Baseline.
Number 7 is your NEAT might be super low. So NEAT is our non-exercise active thermogenesis. That's the acronym.
Movement that is not a workout.
Right. So
See, every time I raise my eyebrows, that's neat.
I know. Well, and I was like thinking, I was like, okay, am I talking enough with my hands? Am I blinking enough? Am I shrugging my shoulders enough? Am I moving enough? Like, these are all NEAT. But the other part of NEAT that people don't think about is, what are the chores that you're doing? What are your day-to-day activities? How much walking are you doing in general?
How much gardening are you doing?
Right. So, like, we have clients that have asked us, well, I mowed the lawn today. I push mowed it. Is that considered my workout? Or I tidied the house today. Like, I did all the chores, blah, blah, blah. Is that considered a workout? I moved the hay bales today. Is that considered my workout? And I'm going to tell you right now, no. That is considered your NEAT. So it increases your movement throughout the day, but it's not your exercise. So when we start to sometimes make excuses for, oh, well, I worked really hard doing, the yard work today, so therefore I'm going to forego my workout, that's kind of doing yourself a disservice, because you would have done the yard work anyways, regardless. It would have had to have taken place in your life, which means that your body isn't going to drastically upregulate your metabolism to combat that. You might get a slight metabolic increase for that day, but it doesn't mean that it's going to be a drastic change. So I would say try and get some form of other movement on top of that. That's my advice.
Yeah, 100%. NEAT is great. NEAT helps us burn extra calories just by doing stuff, right? Like, my big thing that I used to do, I'd sit there and spin the pen in my hand when I was younger. I can't do it anymore. I'm old now. Hiya!
See, and I can do the
But that's what I used to do, right? I would literally sit there in class and spin the pen on my finger all day, right? That's NEAT. It doesn't seem like much of anything, but literally just sitting there doing this all day with a pen in my hand, that's NEAT. Huh? It's kind of neat. Yeah.
Well, and okay, the amount you blink, the amount you breathe, that is also neat. And the other thing is that most of our weight loss, long-term weight loss, comes from your daily NEAT, your daily activity. So that's something to think about. When I used to teach group fitness, I never included me teaching group fitness as my own exercise, because my body adapts to that. It's the postal worker effect. A postal worker might walk kilometers and kilometers, but that can't be included as their exercise because their body will adapt to that.
Yeah, your body's, like I said at the very start of this, your body is a beautiful machine. It will find the most efficient way to do it, expelling the least amount of energy given time.
Okay, we are number 8. Okay, we got the same face. This is so good. If you guys are listening to this on the podcast, you have to go over to
watch the video. You'll see all the faces.
So, poor sleep quality. Now, sleep quality is not directly related to weight loss. However,
if you're not sleeping, your stress levels are going to go up.
So it's related to our stress. It's related to our recovery. It's related to our daily activity the following day. Our digestion, our NEAT. It's also related to our hunger hormones. Maybe it's also related to the food choices that you make. Maybe the less sleep you get, the poorer food choices you're making. It also affects our hormone function. That's part of that recovery. So if I'm not getting enough sleep or quality sleep, it's going to impact my weight loss journey, right? So this is something to really think about, is how good of a sleep am I getting? How long is my sleep? How can I improve it?
Okay, so now that we're talking about sleep, if you're listening to this and you're like, well, I think I sleep good. I get 8 hours a night. That's what I'm told I got to get, but I'm tired every day. Maybe 8 hours isn't right for you. just because you've heard you need 8 hours of sleep a night since you were a kid doesn't mean it's exactly right for you. If you are this beautiful individual beside me, what, 6.5?
6.5 to 7 hours. I can't function on more than that.
6.5 to 7. The other day we got 8.5 hours of sleep. She was a freaking zombie for the first half of the day. But this is real, right? So when you are looking at your ideal sleep pattern, you got to play with this a bit. Sleep 7 hours one night. See how you feel. Sleep 8 hours another night. See how you feel. You got to play with this and find where that sweet spot is, because literally every person has a different, a quote unquote, perfect amount of sleep time. And finding that is going to make your life that much better, that much easier. Because as soon as you fall into a sleep routine that lines up with your circadian rhythm, you are going to be able to recover, rest, and digest your food that much better, which is going to increase your metabolism, which is going to increase your ability to lose weight. Freaking cool.
Yeah, when we're less tired, we're not as hangry.
Cranky, stressed.
Yeah, well, I mean, we get hungry when we're tired because our body is looking for energy. We didn't get enough rest and recovery, so now I need to grab for something. Usually a quick carbohydrate is usually what it ends up being for most people. I need to grab for a piece of toast or whatever to help me with that energy level, and it doesn't satiate you, so then you're constantly looking for that energy level. So what is the next quick carb I can grab? What is the next one? And you're all of a sudden, you find yourself,
It's 5 o'clock, you're dead tired, and you've filled your belly with carbs all day.
Yeah. And that's really what it is it's because the hunger cues are not being met because the sleep isn't being met. So there's lots going on here. Okay, number 9. On number 9 is chronic inflammation. So chronic inflammation being maybe we're eating foods that don't sit well with our body. So I will give you my example. I bought a protein powder the other day. It's delicious, okay? It's delicious. But it is a whey concentrate, which means it still has the carbohydrates and fats attached to it. Nothing wrong with that. However, my body doesn't like milk fat very much. So when I eat that protein powder for 2 to 3 days, my weight goes up. And that's really because the inflammation comes into my guts, so I'm storing more water in my digestive system, and then I also can't poop. That's the other part of that. That also affects it. But it increases that inflammatory response, which causes my body to retain water, to retain sodium, and all of a sudden I'm 2, 3, 4 pounds up because of that. So something to think about is what kind of foods are affecting your digestion? What kind of foods might be impacting you? Are you getting enough water? Because that's going to affect chronic inflammation. And then what is your environment? What are you setting up for your environment that might be impacting chronic inflammation? So maybe you have chronic inflammation of the lungs and you shouldn't be smoking, but you do smoke. Or maybe you you drink alcohol a couple times a week. Alcohol we know is a pro-inflammatory, so maybe that's it. Maybe you're getting too many omega-6s and 9s, which are pro-inflammatory as well in the body.
Maybe you're dairy, gluten, soy intolerant. Whatever your intolerance is, maybe you're eating foods that contain those items, which is causing more inflammation. And the longer that inflammation stays within our body, the more dis-ease is within our body. I didn't say disease, I said dis-ease. Because inflammation over a long period of time causes a whole myriad of issues within our bodies. So learning what are inflammatory foods for our bodies and then eliminating those from our diet is one of the best ways for us to be able to lose that, I'm going to call it like that belly fat, that constant bloat feeling, that, here's that heavy feeling in my gut I get every day after I eat cheese or dairy or whatever it is. Mm-hmm. Getting rid of that not only makes you feel lighter, quote unquote, because again, you don't have all that heavy feeling in the guts anymore, it's also going to allow you to shed the pounds faster because our body is not in that stress response. Our body, because again, when that inflammation is present, your body's in a stress response all the time. It's like, something's wrong, something's wrong, something's wrong. Well, the only thing that's wrong is there's too much inflammation. So figuring out what those inflammatory markers are, pulling those out of your diet, it's going to be a beautiful thing for you.
Well, and the other thing with those inflammatory markers, and especially if it's a digestive inflammation, like we could have inflammation from an injury or anything like that, that would also affect that. But if we have digestive inflammation, it's also going to affect our cognitive function, right? So we have the gut-brain axis, and that gut-brain axis, if there's inflammation in my guts, my brain might feel foggy, not functioning as great, and all of a sudden I'm grabbing for more foods to try and make me feel better. Or I'm doing less of the activities I enjoy because I'm not feeling so great, right? There's lots of those things that do get impacted as well. So it's just something to think about. It's a trickle effect. It's never just one thing, is it?
Yeah.
Okay, the last
Number
one.
10.
Number 10. We made it. We made it. Thank you for hanging on this long. So number 10 is human error.
Oof.
Oof indeed. But there's been so many studies done with like dietitians who you think like these dietitians should be
30 to
on
40% off.
Yeah, and even if they're like strict in tracking, they're 30 to 40% off. And these are dietitians that have gone to school for this stuff. So if they can be 30 to 40% off, what do you think we can be? Right? The average person, it might be off more than that, might be off similar to that. Calories in general can be high or low by 30%. So just because it says there's 100 calories in that bag of potato chips does not mean and there's 100. There could be 130 and there could be 70.
Yeah.
It really depends, but this is the average, what they've calculated based on the bomb meter, right? And that's how they calculate calories. But anyways.
Well, and then you got to think too, human error comes in when we are weighing our food, when we're measuring it. If we are eyeballing, that's probably around 1.5 cups of potatoes. The other night we had mashed potatoes. I said it was 1.5 cups on my plate, and Kayla's like, bullshit, that's at least 2 cups. So I marked it up 2 cups.
Right. Well, and then the other thing is bites, licks, taste. Do you lick the spoon when your kids
BLTs.
are done? You know, like
make a sandwich for your kid, lick the spoon off. That counts.
Do you throw blueberries in your kids' lunches and grab 2 for yourself? I mean, I would never do that.
It's like picking raspberries for jam. 2 for the bucket, 1 for the dad.
Right. Exactly.
1 for the dad.
So tracking nutrients incorrectly is human error. Maybe you are not getting enough protein. Protein is metabolically active. Protein, protein is muscle if you're eating animal-based protein, right? If you're eating plant-based protein, it's more of a building block. But anyways, protein is more metabolically active. It has a higher thermogenic effect of food, meaning it takes more energy from your body to digest the protein. So if you are not getting enough protein, this could be impacting your weight loss. Just because your calories are low does not mean that you are going to get the best out of your weight loss goals, your fat loss specifically, okay? If we're talking about that. Not being honest with our activity levels. You know, sometimes we're like, oh, yeah, no, I did get all my movement in last week. Did I? I'm not. I think I did. I think we did it. So are you tracking it? Are you 100% sure? Are you coming at it with the same level of intensity? And this is we'll go back to the NEAT, but tracking NEAT as exercise. And that's kind of where we said, like, are you gardening and calling it exercise? Did you push mow the lawn and call it exercise? This is our human error, right? So what other kinds of exercise? Maybe you went and played soccer. You can call that exercise for sure, right? But, you know, maybe your regular house activity is an exercise. So you got to kind of redefine certain things. But that human error is huge. So really taking an honest look at what you say you're doing, what you say you're eating, and where your mindset might be at will be a huge thing. Because if we are constantly berating ourselves, we might store more because that causes that stress response in the body. If you look at a salad and you're like, oh, another salad, ew. And then you just kind of force feed yourself this stupid salad. You're not going to feel so great about the food. And actually, they've been able to show that your body doesn't digest the food as well as if you were excited. So if you maybe salad's not your jam. Maybe you would rather have a lettuce wrap burger. And you're like, yeah, lettuce wrap burger. Well, they can show you on a mind-body connection, your body will actually digest that food better and store less of it if you feel better about it.
True story.
Okay. So we have kind of dived through. I'm going to just run through them all one more time just as a quick recap for you guys.
Do it. 1.
Not in a calorie deficit.
2,
Metabolic adaptations.
3,
Genetics.
4,
Underlying metabolic issues.
5,
Working out less or with less intensity.
6,
NEAT. May be super low, non-exercise active thermogenesis.
7.
That was 7.
That was 6.
Oh, don't have enough muscle. Sorry, I skipped one.
8.
Poor sleep quality.
Number 9.
Chronic inflammation.
And the 10.
Human error.
So there you go, guys. 10 reasons why you aren't losing weight, although you think you should be. So if you take anything from this today, increasing activity levels, if you're doing workouts or if you're just moving your body, make sure it changes your breathing rate, right? Learn how to de-stress, sleep better, just do it all and you will be good to go.
And if you need help, make sure you reach out to a coach or trainer that can assist you in this process, because I promise you we have years and years of knowledge and expertise and training under our belts.
Even if it's just the very starting, even if you just need to find where your maintenance calories are. Get somebody that knows what the hell they're talking about. Because if you just plunk it into a calculator that you're going to find on the internet, there's a very good possibility that you might be
doing
a little bit
yourself
off.
a disservice.
Right? When we did my calculated maintenance was like 2,300 calories. My actual maintenance was closer to 6,000 calories.
So let's do this together. Make sure you reach out to a coach that can support you. We are here to support you. So if you have questions, you'd like them answered on the podcast, or you just want to reach out one-on-one and have a quick conversation, please, we have a free 30-minute consult. So just reach out to us and we will provide you so much value. So much value.
Perfect.
Anyways, take care, guys. See you next week.
Have an amazing week, guys.